Hello, my name is Eric Olson, Director of HELPS. I've been an attorney now for 40 years, helping seniors and disabled persons deal with old debt they can't afford to pay. One thing I've learned is that most seniors and many disabled persons don't understand that their income is protected by federal law. Social Security is protected under federal regulations from garnishment by collectors. The same thing for retirement income. It's protected under what's called the Employment Retirement Income Security Act of 1974. It can't be garnished. And the reason for this is our lawmakers didn't want seniors to have to go without retirement income. They understood that a lot of times retirement income is a minimal amount and it's necessary for seniors to take care of their basic needs. Therefore, the laws were passed to protect this income. And seniors need to understand that this income is protected and does not have to be used to pay old debt. So if there's a choice between paying for medicine or food or housing or heat, there's no need to go without food, housing, medicine, or heat in order to pay old debt that you simply can't afford to pay. Does not need to be paid. Well, what can they do? Well, I've already explained that they cannot garnish your Social Security or your pension or your retirement. Now, if you don't pay the debt, they can call and send demand letters. It's possible they could sue and get a judgment. So another common question seniors have is, well, is my bank account at risk into which these monies go? So let me explain. First off, back in 2012, federal regulations were implemented that protect a bank account into which Social Security is deposited up to twice the amount of Social Security in that account, no matter what funds are in there at the time of a writ of garnishment. So, for example, if you receive $1,500 in Social Security and it goes into your checking account, okay, then if you take $1,500 times 2 for 2 months, that's $3,000. If someone had a judgment against you and they tried to garnish your bank account, what the bank would do they would look at your bank account, see they're mandated to see what monies are deposited in there, and if Social Security is deposited in there, they times that times 2. So in this case, it'd be $3,000. And then they don't have to do anything else. As long as there's less than $3,000 in there, no matter if there's monies in there from other sources, maybe a little job, anything else, or a gift from someone, it doesn't matter from where, as long as it's less than $3,000, they rip up the garnishment, throw it away. They're instructed that, and then they notify the collector that there's no money in there, that they're legally obliged to pay the collector. This is the federal regulations. The banks and credit unions are quite familiar with this law. They know how to do it, and you shouldn't have any problem. Now, if a senior had more than that in that account, okay, more than $3,000, then that doesn't mean that the money isn't protected. It is, but it could be the amount over the twice the amount of Social Security in that account could be temporarily held up. And the senior or disabled person would need to file a claim of exemption or a challenge to garnishment. And they could go down to their local courthouse and get a form to do that, look on the internet, or they could contact HELPS, our organization, and we'd help them how to do that. Our clients, normally when we get involved, we just call the attorney and give them proof of the senior's income is protected, and they immediately release the garnishment on the bank account. It is possible that if a collector could require that you have to go and explain to a judge, and then the judge would order that the money be released, so it could be temporarily held up. But the bottom line is, if twice the amount of your Social Security, if your bank account does not exceed twice the amount of your Social Security, then there's no concern. Sometimes I'll tell clients that may have a small Social Security check and a larger pension check to consider having the pension check downloaded on a debit card. Almost all retirement incomes will allow you to put it on a debit card. That way the creditor would have no way of accessing the money, and you can use a debit card now for almost anything that you could ever use a check for. So that's another way to get away from this. So that's the important thing to remember, is that your Social Security and your pension is protected. It can't be taken from you.